So how's everyone doing? Good. All right. Okay, welcome to Serenity Room, and welcome to another night of the sharing series of Karmageddon. Some of you have been here at least once, twice, 3 times, or many more. If you're not familiar with the term Karmageddon, what's it all about? Karmageddon is a movement. It's a global movement. We started that about a year ago or so. The idea behind the Karmageddon came after a lot of things that you hear on the media and you hear on TV and on radio and stuff about the doom and the gloom, and the Mayan calendar ends this year and it's going to be the end of the world. Planet X is going to come and hit our planet, and we're going to have an Armageddon. The polar shift's going to happen. And it's like all the stuff you hear about sunspots. Yeah, sunspots, and there's not enough sunscreen in the world, right? And all these things, like even I heard stuff before that. You guys remember the Y2K and all these things about how people would actually, you remember that? We're hiding in bunkers and you know, food, and the computers are all going to go wacko and the world's going to end. And every few years we hear stuff like that. And everybody's just saying that the world's going to end, the world's going to end. And I looked around me and I started to question, is the world going to end? And I looked and I talked with a lot of spiritual leaders, community leaders, and healers, and gurus, and friends, and mystics. And you really don't need anything special to be a mystic, because mystics are not different kind of human beings, but every human being is a different kind of a mystic in a way. So I talked to a lot of people, and I looked around me and I just realized something. The world is really going to end. You know, the world as we know it is going to end. There's a lot of suffering, a lot of wars, a lot of hunger, a lot of things that we see and we look at and we don't like, and we wish that we could change, and we wonder, is it always going to be like that? And I looked around me and I saw a lot of light workers, a lot of healers, a lot of people. And you don't have to be doctors, you don't have to be gurus, politicians. It could be anyone. It could be the guy that pushes your shopping cart at Publix, or it could be the lady that just lets you get in front of her on the highway, or it could be someone that just smiles and passes on smile and helps other people. It doesn't really have, you don't have to do anything special to change the world. And I looked around me and I see a lot of people are working and planting, I call them karma seeds, to change the world and have that karmic shift. And the Karmageddon is really about bringing awareness and honoring those people in our community and around the world. And we started, the first honoree we had here was Rabbi Mark Lebowitz back in, yes, we got a fan right there. That was back, I guess, was on in March or so. And then every other week we've had people in it from the community that came in, some authors and some artists and some people that are healers and some doctors and practitioners and from all walks of life. And the reason we're doing this is to honor the people in our community that are making a difference. So is the world going to end? Yes. The world's going to end, and the world is going to see a lot of changes, but we're not going to have an Armageddon. The world's going to end in a Karmageddon. We are having this karmic shift where we're bringing healing and love to this world. And the reason we're having those sharing series is to honor the people in our community that are really doing that. We haven't really invented anything new, and this has been going on for a lot of years, probably before I was even born, and before any of us was born. There are people in the community that are doing this, making a difference. And today is about honoring one of those leaders, the community leaders, one of the healers, one of the mystics, one of the people that are making a difference in this world. It's about honoring Karina Skye. And she's here today to be honored and to be acknowledged and to bring awareness and just let her know that whatever she's doing, just keep doing it because she's making a difference in this world. So just encourage her, let her know that she's not alone and she's part of a big movement. There's many of us here. So we'll just give her a hand for being here today. And there's only one catch of being in this movement, if you want to be officially part of this movement, because you really might be already in it, is we have a pledge. And it's a personal commitment. You don't have to promise anyone anything. You don't have to, sign up or give your firstborn or anything. The pledge is the Karmageddon. Yes. Somebody says, please take my firstborn. And, and the Karmageddon pledge. We have, Stephen is going to read it. We're going to read parts and you're going to repeat after him. Okay? And Stephen, you're it.
So read this.
You read this? Yes.
Yeah. Where do you want me to pause for?
Pause wherever you want to pause.
Okay.
But just don't give them like a lot to read. so they can remember.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I believe that
I believe that
love is the most powerful healing force in the universe.
love is the most powerful healing force in the universe.
Everyone and everything on earth is interconnected.
Everyone and everything on earth is interconnected.
And that our well-being is linked to the well-being of others.
And that our well-being is linked to the well-being of others.
We are each other's teachers and healers.
We are each other's teachers and healers.
And hereby I make a personal commitment
And hereby I make a personal commitment
to form alliances in a Karmageddon.
to form alliances in a Karmageddon.
To connect, inspire, and empower all people
To connect, inspire, and empower all people
through personal, spiritual, and social transformation.
through personal, spiritual, and social transformation.
Into leading a conscious evolution
And to leading a conscious evolution
toward a more peaceful and compassionate world.
toward a more peaceful and compassionate world. Welcome to Karmageddon. Thank you. Yeah. So we're officially now we're part of the Karmageddon. So let's kick back. Just relax. Get into the light. Yeah, here it is. Here we go. So it's really hard to start. How do you honor someone that I've been at awe since the first time I got to hear her music, and she was down to earth. The first time I met her, she came into this room, and she was down to earth, and we had a little talk and a little chat, and then she handed me one of her CDs, and I took that CD home, and I listened to her lyrics, and I listened to her message, and I just realized how much she really has to offer, and how hard she has been working to be part of this movement to heal and change and transform our world, one note at a time, maybe one beat at a time, one song at a time, and there was no question about making sure that she's going to be here today to be honored as part of the Karmageddon. And you made me cry with your music, so we're really honored to have you here. So welcome, Karina. Welcome. It's really amazing. I mean, if you look on the internet, if you Google her name, go on YouTube, you're going to see a lot of things about her. A lot of music, a lot of lyrics, and she has her own website and everything. But there are some things that I would like to know about her that you don't see on the internet. I want to know about, start by asking you about your childhood growing up. How was it like, and where did you grow up, and how was it like being a child where you're at?
Well, first of all, this is a big surprise. I didn't know I was being honored. Really. I thought I was just going to sing it. Oh my goodness, I appreciate every single one that are here. And I'm not different than you. You know, we all do our things, and I sing and I do yoga. And it's special to know that there's people that I don't even know that are here because you guys like my music. And it's important for me to know that somebody got my CD and went home and listened to my lyrics. I'm sorry. I was not expecting this at all. So this was a surprise, but okay. Back into shape. But anyways, it's
for me. You're welcome. Amazing.
You guys want some too? Right, anyways.
Almost.
But it's important for each one of us to be recognized in what we do, you know, no matter what we do. And I think the purpose on this world is for us to find something that we connect with, that we're going to do for the rest of our lives, no matter what it is, even if you're a teacher or you're a doctor or even if you clean the streets. But it's something that brings you purpose, and when you're doing, you feel like you're doing something for the community, and you're doing something for somebody that, but also it fulfills you. And coming into the question, I never decided to be a singer. It's not something that when I was on my teenage years, I said, oh, maybe I think it's going to be cool if I become a singer. I was singing before I could speak, before I didn't know what singing was. My parents saw me singing. And from a very young age, I was doing little children's competitions, and I just sang. And this is something I knew I was going to do forever. And thanks to my parents, they supported me in every single way. So I had an amazing childhood, and I was talking to my husband too. I was pretty different. So I was teased and bullied. And this is not the purpose, but I didn't have many friends. But this was good because if I focused on arts and dance, and I grew up with my grandparents, and this is where God guided me towards the healing, because on one side my mother is a medium and my grandmother is a medium, and in the other side she's a witch. So it's something that I grew up making my little potions and having crystals and you know, and learning how to touch somebody and do healing, and that made me even more weird at school. Because when somebody got hurt, I'm like, here, let me heal you. And I was like, so anyways, that explains. But it made me strong too, because I think I'm 32 now, and I've been finding myself in this singing career for all my life. And I try to do music for others. If you go to my YouTube, you see I have pop music, I have this and that. I've always written, I played guitar. I don't play amazing guitar, but I play since I was about 12, so I could accompany myself. And I think when I met my husband, that's when I guess I start feeling free enough to just be who I am and unite my artistic with my true true self. I think I'm going to other questions already that you didn't ask.
Just perfectly all right. It's your night, Karina. And the more we know about you, the more we satisfy our reason for being here.
I think the reason that I'm here is because we all have something that we do in our lives, and if we haven't found our calling yet, that's our purpose. We have to find something that we enjoy, and not work for the money, and not work just because we think this should be a good career, and then sit on an office or doing something that we don't like just because we need to pay our bills. The purpose is to do something that you connect with, that you can touch people by doing it. Whatever it is, even if it is in an office, but it's something that you enjoy. When somebody comes in and they talk to you, they feel the connection, they feel touched. Like I'm feeling right now by having you guys here, because I could not entertain if I didn't have people watching. I could not ever sing if I didn't have listeners. You know, and it's the same thing. A doctor cannot be a doctor if there's no patience. No patience. There's patience.
Yes, there is patience. So where did you grow up? And how was your childhood like? Brothers and sisters, and, family relations. How was it like? I mean, I heard you just say that you had a lot of challenges you were sharing with your husband. And we'll hear about some of the challenges that you went through. And stuff. Of course, you don't have to answer anything you don't want to share with us, but you can tell us as much as you'd like to.
I grew up in Brazil. I have wonderful parents that should be here. No, my dad has a back pain, so he cannot even walk. And I have one sister, and I have an incredible family that is very supportive. My grandparents, we're very warm family, always having gatherings. So this is something that has been always special for us. And I had challenges like all of the kids. Kids are mean, you know. So I had challenges growing up, but it made me who I am. And I started doing ballet since I was 3. So that brought me into yoga when I was about 12 to work because of the ballet. And then I discovered what yoga was. And well, but I am a very happy child forever. I think I'm the same. When I go to Brazil and my grandparents see me and they're like, oh my God, you're just the same 7-year-old Karina of always being happy because there was cake on the table. And I'm the same, I guess. And jumping up and down. Woo-hoo.
Do we have any cake on the table? So you don't even need cake to be happy?
No.
Okay. When did you start getting into music as a career? When did you decide that this is what am I going to do? This is going to be my calling?
Oh, it's funny. Since a very young age, my parents were taking me to kids' competitions, and I just loved singing. I hated the competitions, but I loved to be on stage and sing. So when I was, I think, maybe 10, there was this talent show in school, and I was already being teased by the kids, and I decided to go sing on the talent show. And I think that was like the first time that I won something. And I sang, I think I was 10, I don't know how, I think maybe 10, 12, but I sang What's Up. You know that song, What's Up? By Four Non Blondes. Which I sing until today, and I have such a connection with that song.
How does it go?
I'll sing for you this song entire, but it's hey, yeah, yeah, I say, hey, what's going on?
Oh, okay.
I was in Brazil, so I didn't even know the lyrics, because I didn't speak English in Brazil. I was like doing this whatever with my mouth. but the melody was right. And I won. So I thought after that I was going to be popular, huh? And then the next day, I go back to school, and then the kids go all around, and I have this powerful screaming voice. And they all come around me, and they're like, oh, so you won yesterday, because the teachers voted. So the kids came around, and they told me to sing, and as I started singing, they started like putting the fingers on their ears, because I was going to break the window. And then there was this big fight. So right there, it was almost like I stopped, because, you know, you want to be accepted. That's one thing that all of us want, and especially what you do, and especially when you're a kid, that you don't have confidence and you're waiting for your friends to tell you, I don't know, to tell you that you're good or want to be your friends. So that was tough. So I didn't do anything. It was funny because I think I stopped. My parents started to call me a frog because there was this cartoon, Looney Tunes cartoon, and there was one of the characters find a frog that sings opera. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one.
So when he's alone with the frog sings amazing. And the frog is singing, oh, and doing all this movement. So the guy is thinking that he's going to make so much money with this frog that sings. So he prepares this amazing show and puts the frog there, and it's in a big hall with like those huge red curtains, and then they sell out, and there's people everywhere, and then the curtains go up, and the frog is right there, and a little tiny frog in the middle, and everybody's, yeah, because they heard so much about the frog, and then the orchestra starts, and the frog does, rabbit. And he never sings, so everybody got mad with the guy, but that turned to me, because now my parents want me to sing in family parties, or everywhere we go. Oh, Karina sings, come here, Karina, sing. And I'm like, no, I didn't want to sing. But then my neighbor from downstairs played the guitar. And every day I would listen from the top of my room, my floor. I would listen to him playing, and I knew which songs that he was rehearsing. So whenever he was practicing with his band, we lived in a building, and he would practice in the garage. And I would go and watch because I was just so fascinated. And then I would sing the songs, sitting outside, and then just joking around. I guess they were feeling sorry for me, and they said, come and sing. And I started singing, and they liked. So that was my first band. The singer left, and I started playing with a band, and they were all older than me. And we started actually working right away. So I was about 14 years old when I had my first paying gig. And it was in a club. I couldn't even go into the club. My parents had to go. And so that was it. And that's when I started playing pop music. That's when I started playing the guitar and really get into other instruments and become a singer that I wanted to be always.
You have a lot of spirituality that it just, I listen to your lyrics and I listen to the message that you give, and if you just hear her music and you don't actually take the time to meditate on those lyrics, you're missing a lot. I see that there is a message there that you give, spirituality, called, there is a message of being part of this universe or the multiverse, loving nature, connecting with the inner and the outer. What inspires you? The first question that I had was, does she write her own lyrics? And I just knew that you do. Somehow, from the passion, how you sing and how you speak and what you do, I knew. So I hope I'm right. Do you write your own lyrics? And what inspires you?
Yes, I do write my own lyrics, and I basically do everything by myself because it's expensive to pay musicians. So I've always written, but like I said before I think I was writing for others, you know, and thinking what the people would want to hear, you know, what kind of music they would be interested in listening to, and what would they would be interested on, I don't know, talking, you know, like something that would inspire them. But I was not even thinking level was inspired. So you end up writing a lot of things about relationships and boys and girls and things that were also always related to my life and what I was going through at the moment, but at the same time focused on what my future audience would like. And that didn't work because, telling the truth, I never even had the courage to sing my own music until now. And I work as a singer, and I work singing I do a lot of clubs and weddings, and I do a lot of cover music. And every time somebody asks, oh, play your own music, it was not something that I myself could connect with, even though I wrote, even though it was totally related to my life. Everything that I wrote, my last CD was very pop. We're still trying to work with that. And it was about relationships and struggles too, but at the same time it was focused on what would sell. Then I went to a big transition in my life, and that's also when I divorced my first husband and met McKinley, that I felt that I could be myself. And I think we grew up at a point too that I just thought, you know what, I'm going to write things that I would like to hear, or things about that are inspiring. And even though maybe there might be spiritual, because you always have this barrier, you know, especially as a musician, you don't want to talk much about spirituality because maybe people would think it's corny. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if I start talking about some deep stuff in music, maybe people won't listen or won't understand. So I better talk about fights and breakups and sensuality and other stuff, because that's what people listen in the radio. And I was just done with that. And I was going through a very spiritual phase and discovered in my own life. I've always been very spiritual, but this was a flourishing phase. And I just started writing about personal things, like, and some songs that you guys are going to hear today about like our personal struggles and how we all, like how I suffered through things but made it through, and things. It's funny because it really, sometimes I write to myself. I listen and I'm like, oh my God, like I have songs about strength that gives me strength, you know, and songs about now about the world, is things that I'm frustrated with that I see around, and that it started to speak to people, and I see people here now, you know, and before this wouldn't happen. Even if I play my music, people are like, oh, it sounds cool, you have a good production or something, but it was not a connection that I wouldn't even feel it. And I guess now I don't have that big production, but I feel a connection, and I can just sit and play with my guitar and say what I want to say. So it's different.
Thank you.
I answered the question.
You did. It was wonderful. Even answered another question, because I was going to ask you, when I listened to your lyrics and stuff, like the rest of us, we go through a journey and we have challenges, and we go through those obstacles, and we grow and we learn, and I believe that there are some, in life there are good days and there are growing days, and sometimes you have more growing days than just the good days, and the growing days are better days when you look back. I could see in your lyrics and your music and your message that there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of empowerment there. I guess probably there's a lot of songs that I liked on your new CD, and one of them, I repeat like 2 or 3 times on my way to work was about the rain. You know, you're telling the rain to go away.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like you standing up for yourself, and you're actually taking, making a difference, being assertive, not just being a victim, just being at cause, not just being the effect part. And I like that. And I heard you saying about the 5 elements, and about nature, and about spirituality, and about the light. And I also know that one of the things that you do is you teach yoga. You're not just helping people through the music. You're also helping them through physical exercises and teaching and stuff. And from my understanding, you're really diving into it to the point that you're getting your master's in yoga.
Yeah.
You are. And that was like a surprise when I heard that. I said, how many people go get their master's in yoga?
Yeah, it's a 500.
It's a yes.
It's the advanced.
The advanced yoga. Yeah, so I was just like wondering how many people would get like their yoga and stuff. So when did you start teaching yoga, and what attracted you into yoga and all these teachings?
This is interesting because I learned about yoga. I started practicing yoga during my ballet times, and I used to compete a lot. So my teacher was bringing yoga into the class, so we would get stronger, more balanced, focused, and have the stretch. And I just loved it. And I've always been very spiritual, but there was nothing to do. I never learned anything related to spirituality on that yoga. When I moved from Brazil, I was actually just going to a normal gym, like LA Fitness, and they had yoga there. And as I started going to the classes, because I just loved yoga, I found out that there was much more about yoga than just the stretch. And it was totally about the mind and transcending your thinking mind and focusing on what you're doing and being in the presence and in the present moment. And I just start falling in love with it. And I just start taking on the classes, but yoga is very expensive, especially in studios. So I just did my own researches, and this many years just doing a little bit of my own. I've always meditated. When I started getting to the yoga more, I just figured myself out and doing my own meditations, reading books about other stuff, about the mind, because I just got really intrigued about that, because I guess I wanted to shut up my mind. You know, our minds sometimes drives us crazy. Well, all the time. So I think there was something that I really got interested in. But because of my last marriage, it was very, very, very rocky and tough. I didn't have the opportunity to invest on myself, or invest on classes, or or take a yoga teacher training, which is very expensive in my point of view. And finally, when I met my husband again, I was more independent and feeling more free to experiment, and then I just saved my own little money, and I said, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do the teacher training. But this was only 1 year ago that I did my first teacher training. I knew a lot about yoga, and I knew from my own studies, but not as when you go through a teacher training and you figure things out. Everything it was funny, because I think, I'm not saying I'm awakened, but I woke up. You know what I mean? I'm not enlightened, but it was an awakening. And I did so many years of ballet. So I used to teach ballet starting in Brazil, and I taught even at Florida Atlantic University. I used to teach dance there. I used to be the choreographer for the musicals. So I always had a lot related to movement and stretch and body, and this was something. But it was funny because I never liked to be a teacher. It was something that didn't fulfill me. It was just a job. to be teaching dance and to be teaching even guitar lessons or vocal lessons. I liked because it's something that I knew how to do it and I could pass to somebody else that was interested in learning, but it didn't fulfill me. When I got the yoga teacher training and I started teaching yoga, it was the light of my life. Because now I'm doing the same that I used to do before, teaching body work. But there was a deeper purpose, to help those people to understand their minds, to understand and quiet themselves and be better people. That's all that is. Yoga is how it's getting and teaching yourself, or you practice and become a better person by the asana, the exercise is just a speck of what yoga is. You actually practice the asana so your body is healthy, so you can sit for long periods of time in meditation. And that's the only reason you do asana. Which is funny because we don't even know. And we think that yoga is going to the gym and doing the pretzel movements. So, and that was it. My life turned into yoga. And I think there was also a turning point for my music too, because I felt so content. I felt like I found my purpose. Maybe I won't ever be a famous singer, but I will make a difference in people's lives because I'm going to sing about positive things that if you want to hear and listen to what I have to say, it might inspire you. And I will teach a class just like I was doing for 15 years, but now it's teaching you something else, teaching you to be a better person and guiding you towards a new path. So, and now I just promised myself that every year I'm going to take a different course. I'm going to learn with different teachers because I'm so like a sponge. I want to learn more from different people. So I'm taking another course now. I'm getting my 500, which is, you cannot say, like we say master because that's after the first, but it's not even like the M of the master. It's going towards it.
Perfect. Somehow I heard you at least 2 or 3 times talking about how expensive it is to learn yoga or to get into practices and have people teach you like certain practices that supposedly spiritual or towards your health and your healing and stuff. Without getting into controversies, without trying to start anything or rattle anyone's cage, really. How do you really feel about when a lot of the spiritual teachings and a lot, not all of them, but some of them, maybe not even a lot, there are people that actually it's like pure business and it's not based on merit and it's not based on willingness and it's not based on ability. It's a lot of times just based on means. I know for a fact that if I have $10,000, I can just go to India for a few weeks and come back. A guru, with a divine name or something, you know. For 10 grand, I could do that. If I have 50 grand, forget it, right? I could be what, the Pope? I don't know. No, I'm gonna edit some of that stuff. But how do you really feel about it? And you're teaching yoga, so what do you think about are you gonna do the same thing while you're teaching? You're showing an arm and a leg. I want your thoughts on that.
I have very strong thoughts about that, and I think because I've never been a person diving in money. Singing is a hard thing. I just sing. I don't do anything else. I sing in bands. And sometimes like June, July, I have like a show a week, and it's hard. And whenever you want to do something, like you said, and you want to learn something so much, and then you're like, oh my God, I really want to take this class, and then you're going to see it's $3,000 up. So what do you choose? To put food on your table or take the class? Now, we live in a materialistic country. This United States is very about materialism. And this is something, too, that we were discussing on our yoga course, that if you live in India and if you want to learn from a real guru yoga, you have to go there, talk to the guru, and he's going to study you for months before he tells you that you can be his student. He's going to look at you and see if you're worth it, of his time, of his energy, and if you are going to take that and cherish, that learning and cherish. And he won't even charge you, but it's going to take you 2 years, 3 years to learn and start teaching. Here, it's special because, yes, we have the chance to go to a school, which is down the road. They have good teachers that probably went all around the world and learned from the gurus, and they're going to teach you something. But the downward is that sometimes it's a very little period of time, and for a horribly amount of price that somebody that do have money that just thinking, well, maybe I'll take this class, can go there too and just take, while another person that really want to take, they might never have the chance because they cannot afford. I think there is I say this a lot, and I learned from my first teacher that spirituality is the most dangerous type of ego. When we notice that we are developing a type of spirituality in ourselves, when we start watching ourselves and see that, I don't know, we practice meditation every day, we're doing yoga every day, we are teaching yoga, now we become better than other people because we are more advanced, because now we know something that they don't. And that's when, or you have money and you open your school and now you become 500, now you can teach other teachers. So you look around, what is the price? 3,000. I think I'm pretty good, I'm going to charge 5. You know, and it misses the point, because spirituality is something that everybody should have. It's even more, in my point of view, than learning how to write in school. And nobody teaches you spirituality, or I'm not talking about religion. Really, you guys know the difference between spirituality and religion? It's big. Spirituality is just you connecting to yourself and your higher self and finding your purpose and knowing who you are and understanding that everybody is one. That literally that we all have the same light inside and the same type of soul. We all came from the same source, no matter what you call it. Something put us here, and we all are meant to grow. And somebody is growing a lot as a doctor, and somebody is growing a lot as something else, but that doesn't mean that that doctor is smarter or better than the other person. They're just developing another branch. So everybody's in the same level. And if you are lucky enough that you had somebody to teach you yoga or teach you how to tap into this internal world, and you begin to develop, now it's your duty to teach somebody else. Because you might have people in your family or friends that are in the dark, and they never ever heard anybody mentioning anything about that. And if you don't hear, how can you go and search for it? And they're thinking that yoga is putting their leg behind the head. And they're like, nah, it's not for me, you know? And it misses the point. So I think charging too much, it came also when I wanted to do Reiki. I grew up with my grandma doing hands-on healing, and I wanted to do Reiki. I wanted to be able to heal people and say that I'm a healer, But not just say, oh yeah, I learned in Brazil with my family and going to the spiritual centers in Brazil. Here, people demand you to have a paper and say, here, I'm certified on this. So, and I wanted to do that. And it took me years to, because just for one course of teaching you the symbols and how to exchange energy, it's over $1,000. So I think there is a lot of materialism involved and a lot of missing the point. But I understand that we also have to cherish. So I think there's people that they want to cherish what they have and they think it's, oh, my school, this guru came here and taught me and taught, so I think I'm allowed to charge more than others. But I'm not gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I would like to teach people in the teacher training, and I really don't know what's the requirements and how much money is involved. But like I have yoga students here that come to my donation class every Monday, and I make $5 a class, you know, $5 a person. And telling the truth, I make more money in your class than I make at LA Fitness. But you know, and it's not about the money. I do it for free because it's inside. You want to teach somebody else what you know, and that's in my music. If I'm not able to teach somebody and talk to people about it, I'm hoping that I can say something in my music that somebody that is in the other side of the world might listen and catch a little bit about the message. That's all that is. The music, it's trying to send this that I learned throughout my life, which is little. I'm still learning so much. But it's something that, wow, when I learned, it was such a light bulb that I felt like, I wish I knew this years ago. And I wish my friends knew that. I wish my neighbor knew that. I wish my ex-husband knew that. You know, it's like this. And if somebody had told me earlier, I don't know, it's everything in some time, but you know, that's how I feel. I feel like I have my duty, it's my duty. Once now I know this, I have to share. And that's why I think yoga fulfills me so much, and singing. Because now, especially at this moment in my life, when I sing, I'm sharing a message. I'm sharing something that I want to tell. And when I teach, it's the same. I'm sharing something. Even if it's little, I'm trying to, hey, listen, this works for me. I hope it works for you too.
It's amazing. You know, that's probably, this is the whole reason why this whole thing started. It's a nonprofit. This room is a part of a nonprofit organization, and the reason this organization was formed and this room was here is probably for what you're talking about. It's just to allow people to come and help each other and share what they have and teach each other without being exploited, and collectively somehow we're paying the rent. Whatever we contribute is kind of like, it's instead of the word non-profit, I like to use the word profit for all. We all profit from it, you know. And whatever we learn from each other, we can take it home and share it with the family and the friends, and take out our community and stuff. Who are the people in your life today that they inspire you? Teachers and gurus and friends and family, and
Everybody, you guys inspire me by being here. My husband is an incredible inspiration, helps me to grow, and it's special that I can tell him, hey, listen, this is a big weakness, and I know that he was not going to throw back on me and say, you see, this is your weakness, you know, like people. So my husband is a very big inspiration. My parents are an inspiration forever, always been. They've been through so much, and they support us in whatever we do. And every single person that enters my life is an inspiration. Jack and all of my friends there, and you guys, all the new faces that I met. And it's just every person that I meet it's a new lesson, and that's how I take. And even when somebody tells you something that you don't like, that's a lesson, and that's an inspiration. And the way he hits, if he hits hard, it's because it's even a bigger inspiration, because there's something that you need to work on. So my teachers are, it's funny because I have funny teachers for my yoga teachers. I think we have expectations of people, so I was really expecting like the guru type, loving and sweet, accepting, and they are totally opposite of what I was expecting. But they, and they are big inspirations. And I think somebody told me one day in a yoga class that you gotta take the class as a self-service. When you go to a dinner and you self-serve yourself, so there's like many different salads and meats and whatever, and then you go and you don't like the meat, so you go through the salads, but you don't like this, so you just take whatever you like, and then you go and enjoy. I think all of my classes ever in my life, and I think all of us can agree, there's always something that, even if somebody that you super admire, the person is not 100% perfect, it's not 100% right. So you're gonna take what's good for you, and whatever is not, you leave it. And that's how I go through life. Every single teacher had many, many things to teach me, and even sometimes we don't want to agree with people. It's sometimes maybe something within us, So everybody's an inspiration. You're an inspiration, and you guys being here, it's very special.
Thank you. And now I'm going to ask you about Karmageddon, about the transformation. What do you think are the challenges that we have in the world today as individuals and as society and on a global level? And that's the first question. And I'm going to let you answer this one first.
I could talk forever, but I want to sing still, so. But even this CD, Letter to Humanity, the last CD that I made, I decided, I think 2012 has been a very special year. And I've been reading a lot about the Mayans, and I'm super interested on it. And on the last year, I've been waiting for 2012 because I feel like maybe I'm just hoping that something is really going to change, which inside, I know it's changing, but it's not going to be in 2012. But I still have that hope that something is going to be different in 2013. And I see some differences. But I think that's the thing. I think 2012 has been, most of us can agree that there's so many more spiritual movements happening everywhere. Like little things happening that this whole community, you guys and everything, last year I didn't know anything about it. And it just all of a sudden, it was 1 and 2 and 3, and now I have so many friends, and we're talking about transition town, and we're talking about changing and making things better, and I hear more people, and I meet people that are in the same, and this is so, it feels like 2012. And that's what I, like from the Mayans, I don't believe that in 2012, I really don't believe that there's something that's going to come and explode. I think that even the end of the Mayan calendar, I also don't believe that they just ran out of paper or rocks, so that's why they stopped writing the calendar. It's about phases, and we've been in a very sleeping phase, a very materialistic phase, and sometimes I cry. I tell my husband, oh my God, I cannot believe that we live in such a weird place, that people are so worried about money and about cars, and they don't even care if they, a biggest pet peeve for me is when somebody throws a bottle or a plastic bottle on their trash can, and they never even thought that that trash is going to go to the landfills and never go anywhere. So this is something that it's like something that I wish I could tell the world, guys, and that's exactly what the song Letter to Humanity is. It's let's wake up, because we are running out of sources, literally. And if there's not a discussion about, oh, is there global warming or not? Is the earth getting warmer because of it's a cycle, or because man is causing? Forget about this. Just think about us just really destroying everything that we see. We eat much more meat than we can produce, which we take much more trees than we can grow, and we take much more oil than we can have, there is, and we don't even think about it. And this is something that is like boils up inside of me, that makes me want to scream, and so I really hope with this change in 2012 and seeing so many different nucleus of people transitioning and waking up, and yoga studios, and just little gatherings like this that we're having today everywhere, that people are starting to have a little bit of consciousness. And you don't have to turn into a spiritual person and be awakened in the end of 2012, but just by the fact that from now on, you think, you know what, maybe I start recycling, or maybe I start eating a little less meat, or maybe I start, supporting local markets, because maybe I change my car and to a more economic car instead of having a big car that uses so much gas because we're going to run out of oil one day. So it's little things that we can do in our lives. And I think Karmageddon is this spreading of this awareness. So the more we talk about it, the more we can touch other lives, that people can talk and spread the message. And I so appreciate this event, because there are so many people on our society that, like me, that have this passion of spreading the message. And you don't have to be a spiritual leader to be talking and here and spreading the message. No, if you just hear something and it's important for you, tell your friend, tell the others, because that's all it takes. And I hope one day the whole consciousness, the way we live, is going to just change. And that's the shift. Now, from now on, we're going to be more economic. From now on, we're going to be thinking about before we do things, and and be knowing that this life is not about material things, because we go somewhere and we leave everything here.
Thank you. And awareness is very important. It's very important just to be aware, and be aware of your truth, and honor your truth, and stand up and speak your truth, and don't be afraid to share what you believe in and who you are, because that's, at the end of the day, what really matters is not what anybody thinks, not what society says, or what your family thinks of you. What really matters at the end of the day, when you close your eyes and you're all by yourself, and you go inside your heart and you ask yourself, am I content? Am I happy with the way my life is going? And you're the only one that knows the answer to that, and you're the only one that knows if you need to make any changes or not. So honoring your own truth, and I see you do that in your music. And I hope that you're going to honor us at the main event that we're going to have October 20th. The Saturday is going to be in TY Park. We booked 7 pavilions. We have the entire south side. When you walk in, the lake and everything, all the way to the street. We have those 7 pavilions, and a lot of light workers, the ones that we've been honoring here, and there's more people coming. On the 11th, is it going to be Saturday the 11th? I think. Yes, we're honoring 3 people at the same time. We're honoring Chief Stone Eagle. He's from the Delaware tribes, and we're honoring Chief Cricket. He is from the Lakota, And we're honoring John, the wizard. Here, he's from South Miami, but he has been an activist and environmentalist, and he's doing a lot of things. And I have a weak spot for activists because it's easy for any of us to say I don't like this, and it's easy just to go on Facebook and there's a message or a video or something, and you just click like on it, and you show that, oh, I support this and I support that. But this is really far from activism. I look at it as lacktivism or slacktivism. You're just slacking it on. So activism is really about making a difference. It's about be active. Take the action. It's activism. Take the action. And it has nothing to do with violence. It has nothing to do with throwing rocks on anyone or burning a building down or even being mean or go to jail or not, you know. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has a lot to do with the little personal commitments that we make, like Karina was saying about recycling. You know, this is part of being an activist. I don't like something, so I don't contribute to it. I don't want to have all this landfill and the plastics and all that stuff. I don't contribute to it. I recycle it, you know. And there are many ways to recycle. You don't just have to go and I'm going to get into that. But we're going to talk about plastic surgeries. No, there's other ways to recycle these things. And but yeah. It's a different story, but like other things, like for example, like the example I always use, and it's just probably you guys are bored to death, and I have it in every video. It's about I don't like the way they treat chicken. I think it's inhumane when they just have those chicken mills somewhere. You've seen how they treat them and how they exploit them and stuff. So it's kind of like, you know. When I go buy eggs, I make sure I'm going to buy the cage-free. They came from eggs that came from a cage-free chicken. I don't mind paying the extra penny or two. You know, it's kind of like I can't just say I don't like that, and I just go and I pay to those people to just continue doing that stuff. That's activism, and it doesn't have to be anything that's violent. I stand for what I believe in. You know, I don't have to support something that I don't believe in. You know, I've seen worlds and countries and things just change just by being active and standing for what you believe in without being violent. And just show the world that enough is enough. I'm not going to support you anymore. If you don't value me, and if you don't honor who I am as a human being, if you don't honor this world, if you don't honor Mother Earth and Father Sky, you know, I'm not going to honor your business, you know, and we all have the right to do that. Anyway, this is, of course, I know we came here to honor Karina, but I'm sure we came here to listen to her music too. I can't wait to listen to her music. And usually we have a little segment, few minutes, if you want to ask her any questions. Do you guys have any questions you'd like to ask her? Would you have any questions for Karina?
You cannot ask me any questions. You ask me at home.
Oh, you can. Come here.
He doesn't have any questions.
Oh, okay. I have a lot of questions.
I say that you don't have any questions. I say so.
So, well, anybody has any questions or anything? Are we ready?
Sing.
Sing. Okay, let's give her a hand, you guys. Let's give her a hand. Thank you. We love you, Karina.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here.